my name is Matt Revilla, and my FedTalk is on occupational obesity. First, I want to begin with what made me interested in this subject. My first part-time job was at a fast food restaurant. After 6 months of working at this restaurant, I realized that I had gained weight. Worried and intrigued about this sudden change, I talked to my coworkers about it, and they all laughed at me, saying that this is just part of the job. Everyone gains weight while working here. Why was this the case? Why was my necessity of a source of income leading to my sudden weight gain? Now, I was not at the point of being classified as overweight or obese. However, it did open up my mind to thinking about how occupational environmental factors can affect lifestyle behaviors of employees. Therefore, as I continue to speak on occupational obesity, I will refer back to my experiences as a fast food restaurant worker. Let's zoom out to look at some statistics. In the United States, 1 out of 4 workers are obese. With this number on the rise, its impact on healthcare costs continues to grow. Reuters estimates that annual medical costs of obesity are on the rise in the United States at $190 billion. Mayo Clinic reports that increase in weight gain correlates with increases in medical costs to employers. For those with a BMI of 30 to 35, annual medical cost increases by $1,850. At a BMI of 35 to 40, it increases by $3,086. And at a BMI above 40, it increases by $5,530. With these jarring statistics in mind, I ask, how does workplace environment affect behaviors related to obesity? How are obesity health interventions applied in the workplace? And how does knowledge of occupational obesity affect our understanding of obesity? To demonstrate the correlations between different occupations and obesity, I primarily look at Gallup Healthways Wellbeing Index, a group focusing on clinical research, health leadership, and behavioral economics research to understand factors that drive well-being. From January 2nd to September 10th, 2012, Gallup interviewed more than 139,000 American workers, analyzing the relationship between workers' obesity, signified by BMI, and 27 behavioral and emotional factors, while controlling for age, ethnicity, race, marital status, gender, income, education, region, and religion. First, their analysis showed that exercise, smoking, healthy eating, access to a safe place to exercise, visiting the dentist, personal doctor, food struggles, and depression were the top behavioral factors that were most related to obesity in U.S. workers. Next, they ranked the percentage of obesity by occupation types. Interestingly, higher prevalence of obesity was found in jobs like transportation, manufacturing, or production, with service workers, the category for fast food workers, ranked near the top, while physician occupation had drastically lower prevalence of obesity. Now, let's put these two areas of analysis together. Looking at exercise, occupations in farming, fishing, or forestry report high percentages of exercise throughout the week. This is most likely due to the physical nature of their work. In contrast, jobs with a majority of time spent sedentary, like clerical or office work, report lower percentages of physical activity. We start to see the ways in which the type of occupation affects workers to be more or less likely to participate in behaviors closely linked to obesity. Next, we look at nutrition based on food affordability and daily eating habits. 23.8% of service workers noted that they struggled to afford food in the past year, which is drastically higher compared to the percentage of physicians at 2.2%. When looking at healthy eating habits, occupations like physicians and business owners also report eating healthier compared to jobs in transportation, service, and office work. Occupations affecting socioeconomic factors, food insecurity, and access to healthy food influence behaviors linked with the prevalence of obesity. As a fast food worker, I spent a majority of my day in a fast food restaurant. If I was working an 8-hour shift, 2 of my meals would be in the presence of fast food. Also, with the majority of my day spent at work on top of being a student, I didn't have time to prepare meals and exercise. Furthermore, money played an important role. With a 50% employee discount, eating fast food products at work was an economically sound decision. My work environment created the perfect storm to choose behaviors that had negative impacts on my health. From data gathered by Gallup, Healthways Wellbeing Index, and a personal reflection on my experience, I see the ways that the type of occupation creates different environments that perpetuate certain behaviors corresponding to increased prevalence of obesity. With this in mind, how can the workplace be a medium of intervention to address high prevalence of obesity in American workers? Ann Thorndike from the Cardiovascular Risk Reports suggests two avenues of intervention: individual-based interventions, which work on individual behaviors such as physical activity and nutrition, and environmental-based interventions, making systematic changes in the workplace. McDonald's takes on the individual-based approach by warning their employees that eating their food increases their chances of being overweight. They acknowledge that it is a challenge to eat healthy in a fast food, but suggest that their employees need to change their diet. It is a very ironic message, but also turns the responsibility for health on the individual. On the other hand, Gallup Healthways Wellbeing Index suggests environmental-based approach by promoting targeted interventions. For example, for employees in the service industry who struggle with affordable food, they suggest that employers could develop programs to help make food more affordable for their employees. For office workers, the employer could maybe incentivize going to the gym and exercising. My critique of this intervention is that the type of work so closely ties to the environment, promoting behaviors correlating with obesity. Despite these changes, employees in fast food industries will still spend most of their time during the day surrounded by unhealthy food, and office workers still have to work in a desk for the majority of their workday. In conclusion, we see the ways that different occupations create different working environments that influence behaviors related to the prevalence of obesity. With this complex relationship, it is difficult to analyze points of intervention to address this complex issue. Furthermore, it further complicates the equation of obesity. We know that low socioeconomic status correlates with high levels of obesity, yet here we see hardworking individuals trying to make ends meet with varying risk of obesity depending on their source of income. Once again, we see that obesity does not simply relate with nutrition and exercise. Instead, it is interconnected with countless dynamic issues. Thank you for listening.